Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The Bridge Street Garage Racing Team, the house racing team of the Vintage Snowmobile podcast. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile podcast, this could be your advertising message. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And that was my boo-boo right there. My microphone was shut off while we had the intro rolling. So I apologize for that. And you guys are on the ball. That's why I do that at the beginning of every episode, is to say, if you can see my face and hear my voice, please make a comment so that we can have a moment like this where we can catch it before everything begins. All right. So we've established that everything is working properly. Please, someone make a comment real quick if you can hear my voice at this point, to make sure that we've remedied this. And then we'll bring our guests on, and we're going to talk about some upcoming events. Dave Lowry says hello from Ontario. And I'm assuming, there we go. Jeff Jones says, there you are. So I'm assuming that Jeff can hear us. So I'm going to switch screens here. Going to bring our friends on. There's Ray. Here's Dan. It's taking a minute for the interface to catch up with us here. And Josh, I'm going to have to remove this. Gentlemen, how are you all doing tonight?
Awesome. How you doing, Mike?
Good. It's great to see you. Now, can you guys see Dan on the screen?
No.
Yeah, because I'm having some trouble seeing him as well.
I
Dan,
see
can you
his
hear us?
name. I see his link, but I don't see Dan.
Yeah, I got the name there, but just a blank background.
Yeah, boy, I'm sorry about that, folks. Let's continue. Okay, I think he's going to pop on here. I see the change on the interface, and there we go. We have a full house.
There we go.
Good evening. Cool deal. How you doing tonight, Dan?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Good. So yes, we've got a full house tonight. Everyone you see on the screen here, aside from myself, is hosting a vintage snowmobile related event over the coming months. And we're going to have a chance to talk about it. And we talked before we went on live about the format. What we're going to do, we're going to give each of you a chance to do maybe a 60-second snapshot of what your event is about, and then we'll go around the circle again and give each of you a chance to do a long form commentary about your event. Let's take a couple of quick comments first. Rick and Katrina Dumont say all set now. Brett Esseltine says, yes, I can hear you. That's what I was looking for. Jim Duff says loud and clear. And I'm going to continue with the comments, but let's not waste any more time here with the chitter chatter and the jibber jabber at the beginning. We're going to let Ray go first and give us his kind of 60-second overview of the event that he's putting on.
Yeah, so the event we're putting on, Mike, it's new this year. We've done a couple of vintage snowmobile rides, and people have been begging for a show and a swap meet. So Saturday, September 17th in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, we're doing our first ever Great Northwoods Vintage Snowmobile Show and Swap Meet. We're actually going to incorporate an ATV swap with it also. So it's going to be something new. We're looking forward to it. We've had a pretty good response, so we're hoping it's going to have a good turnout.
Wonderful. Well, cool. So our next guest for their quick 60-second overview is going to be Josh Levicker. Let's put you on the screen here. And I'm going to pop your graphic, Josh. And while you're talking, if you can rotate that camera horizontal. And yeah, please tell us, Josh, about your event.
That better? Okay, so this will be our second annual vintage show. It's the Northern New York Vintage Snowmobile Show and Swap. What it is, it's the old Boonville show. Ed Stab and I got together about 2 years ago, talked about this show, and we did it last year, Labor Day weekend. This year, September 3rd, behind the Turn Fire Hall. Excuse me. And last year we had 214 sleds registered in the show, anywhere between 50 and 75 on display. Food trucks, vendors, firemen doing breakfast and lunch. It's a good show and a very good swap.
Wonderful. Well, cool. Let me get Dan on, and we'll give Dan a turn for his 60 seconds of fame.
Okay, well, hello everyone. I'm glad to be here with you. I'm the president of the Vintage Snowmobile Club of the Adirondacks, and we put on a show in Ormstown, Quebec. It's called the Ormstown Vintage Snowmobile Show. It's on August 27, 2022, and Ormstown is approximately 35 miles south of Montreal, and it's about 15 miles away from the American border, 20 miles from Chateauguay, New York, and about 20 to 25 miles away from Malone, New York. It's our 11th year, and we have, there are three things that I think stand out about our show. We have amazing sleds. We have unique sleds, quality sleds. We have also our special guests, which are former racers and former race directors, as well as we have vendors that have extremely good vintage parts. They have new old stock. They have, well, used, evidently used stuff, but also new stuff. And I'll be discussing that afterwards. Thank you.
Wonderful. Cool deal. And then I've got an event here I wanted to mention as well. Actually, two quick events. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame is having their next induction ceremony Saturday, September the 10th at 1 p.m. at Crane Snowmobile Museum in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The ceremony officially starts at 1:30, but I advise people to get there at least at 1, preferably earlier if you can, for several reasons. Number one, you're bringing lawn chairs, you're bringing your own seating, so you want to have a chance to stake out a good spot with your lawn chairs. And then you're going to want some time to actually go into the museum, Crane Snowmobile Museum, to look around before the ceremony. So yeah, I do look forward to that. Also, I don't have a graphic for it, but I have the some information. My friend Phil Bell is hosting an event, a vintage snowmobile event in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. This is going to be on Sunday, October 2nd. It's a show and swap. There are going to be 10 trophies, and it goes from 10 to 2. It's right across from Beach Hill Automotive. So if you're wondering about Googling a location, just do a Google for Beach Hill Automotive, and it's right across the road from there. That'll give you the address and everything. But yeah, so let's circle around again. I'm going to give the floor back to Ray. If you wanted to do more of a long form description of your event.
Yeah, so I mean, this is new to us, so it's great to see these other guys with some of the stuff that they've got. You know, we're doing a few different classes: race sleds, trail sleds, antique rear engine. You know, 66 to 74 restored and unrestored, which I think we're going to go 74 pre-74 to go back older. Again, we're all new to this. But we're looking forward to this. We've had a lot of people ask about having a swap and a show. We've got a great area here in Pittsburgh, great snowmobiling area, a lot of history in northern New Hampshire with the vintage stuff. So, yeah, we're looking forward to this. It's Saturday, September 17th at Murphy Dam in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. It's a benefit for the Pittsburgh Ridge Runners, our snowmobile club up here, which grooms about 230 miles of beautifully maintained trails up here. And the vendor's fee, entry fee for your sleds are $10 for the first sled, $5 for the additional. Vendor fees, $25 to come in. And if anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to reach out to me. I have my number right there, 603-387-0318, right on the bottom of the tag. It will be pasted all over Facebook as we get going here, and we're getting pretty darn close to it.
Yeah, for sure. And schedule permitting, I'm hoping to go up there and join you guys. And
hopefully, yeah, I'd be glad to see you there, Mike.
Cool deal. And then, yeah, Josh, it's your turn. And by the way, Josh, I do have those images that you sent me. This is the image for the event, but I'll be popping up some of those images in case you want to talk those up.
Yeah. If you want to bring the flyer back up.
Sure. Yeah.
Mike. So again, this is our second year. It's the old Boonville show, which ran for at least 12 years. And so this is a Boonville following, but now resides in Turin, just north of Boonville by 10 minutes. Right behind the fire hall. Look for the big 200-foot water tower. We have 26, 28 classes. I think there's 2 not listed. Then we have People's Choice, a Fireman's Choice, Best in Class, first, second, and third place trophies. $5 per sled, up to 4 sleds. And if you bring anything more than 4, those additional sleds, there's no charge. $3 admission, vendors, swap. Again, last year, we had 214 registered in the show, 50 to 75 additional on display. And we go from, antique to the modern vintage. People like Herb Yancey, he'll be there. And I'm sure everyone's familiar with his moto ski that he brought to the Nationals. Yeah. And he'll have that machine there. I'll have a few of mine there as well. The firemen will be doing a breakfast and lunch. So get there early for the breakfast and along with the lunch. Our snowmobile club, the Turin Ridge Riders, is the host with the Turin Volunteer Fire Department. Our club is the second biggest in New York State. We have 1,830 members. We groom 36 miles of trail on Tug Hill. And in Lewis County, there's 504 miles of trails from Tug Hill to Harrisville, down into southern Lewis County, out into Branningham. And Southern Tug Hill will be there as well. They're just posted. They're raffling off a brand new 850 Skidoo Lynx, so they'll have raffle tickets for that there as well with one of their machines. Groomers on display. Our Snowmobile Club will be doing a raffle as well for it's a brand new kitty cat, a 1999. It's actually a 98 leftover with the graphic scheme for the 99 era. Last year they made the kitty cat and it was never ran.
Wow.
It was a gentleman from New Jersey purchased it. His kids did not want to ride it. It was in New Jersey, and fortunate enough, he has a camp up here on Tug Hill and was able to, he had it for sale, and fortunate enough, our club was able to get it. So that'll be our raffle sled for this year. We do the drawing February 16th. So our tickets will be available here at the show for that. And proceeds will go to the fire department, the club, and it's a very good show. It's a lot of talk about it. I'm hoping we'll be in the 300 mark. I hope to break the 300 mark on the number of entries.
Nice. And
we'll have the dash plaques. We'll have we got 100 t-shirts as well for sale, and looking to get a DJ or a band and do door prizes every hour on the hour from 10 o'clock up to 2 o'clock. So judging will start around 10:30, 11 at the latest, and trophies will start, awards will go at 2 o'clock. So if anybody has a camper or RV that they want to come up Friday evening, my name is on the flyer here. You can contact me. There is some accommodations for power. So if you're traveling a long ways, you have a camper, RV, what have you, get a hold of me, and we can have accommodations where you can plug in for power.
Nice.
And there is running water on the facility, and it's in our village park. It's good shade. It's there's a good picture. Again, when you're in turn, just not a very big area. Look for the water tower. And I'll have signs out on both state roads and on the west road with signs pointing, saying sled show, with an arrow pointing in that direction. So it's looking forward to it. It was we were very pleased with the turnout. It was it's the old Boonville show, but it was really, if you weren't there, you should be there. And people that made it last year, they're coming this year, and the ones that couldn't make it last year, they're talking about, hey, I missed a good show in Swap. So again, just pray for good weather, and a lot of people. I got people coming from Maine, New Hampshire, one gentleman from Michigan, many from Pennsylvania. It's a good time. Again, that's where the kind of the area there where a lot of the people came early and parked in that area, stayed overnight. And that was our raffle sled last year, the Lynx.
Sweet. Yeah.
It's a good time. It brings the community together. It's good for the fire department. And again, it gives us a chance to try and raise funds for our club. Again, with the price of fuel for diesel, we operate, when we were around $3 a gallon, our fuel bill is anywhere from $15,000 to $18,000. So it's more than double. So it's
crazy.
We'll be in the $35,000 to $40,000 mark just on fuel. So
yeah, that's crazy.
And we have a kids class, 14 years and younger. They can bring anything, and so it's good to see there. That's the future of the sport right there.
For sure. Yeah, that is good to see. That is really good to see. Well, cool. Any final thoughts, Josh, before we turn it over to Dan? Or?
No, just hoping for good weather. Time will tell, but it's a good time, and it's nice to meet the people I speak to online, like yourself, Mike. At the Nationals, you meet them once a year, maybe once every 3 to 5. But it's the sport's a tight knit sport, from young to old, and it's good to see everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, it was on that topic. It was really nice to meet you a few weeks ago, actually a little over a few weeks now in Old Forge. To meet you and to visit with you and to see that EXT and the other sleds that you had. And I think it was your father-in-law had some cats as well. And it was just a really good time. But I think Josh locked up on us with a signal. So let's move on to Dan. Let me bring Dan full screen. How you doing, Dan? Can you see and hear us okay?
Yes, I do hear you, except that at times it would slow down and I wouldn't be able to hear you. But anyway, I'll proceed. I didn't mention a while ago that the Vintage Snowmobile Club of the Adirondacks is both an American as well as a Canadian club, composed of members from the state of New York, the province of Quebec, as well as the province of Ontario. Also, before getting on the topic of our show, I think that I owe it to you, or at least I have to be transparent in the sense that we have an issue here when coming to Canada. It's not a major issue. It might be. I don't know if you're hearing me. Certain requirements because of COVID, and I'd like to go over them with you because I'd hate it if someone came to our show or tried to come to our show, reached the border and was told that they didn't meet the requirements. So essentially, the requirements are, well, evidently we all need passports when we cross either into Canada or the United States. Secondly, because of COVID, we have to be vaccinated, or people have to be vaccinated when they come to Canada, and the same applies to the USA. Thirdly, there is a website that you have to go on. It's called ArriveCan, or an app called ArriveCan, and you have to provide the relevant or pertinent information in order to come to Canada, to travel to Canada. So first of all, you go on the site or the app, you open up an account, and you open it by providing your email, and then afterwards creating a password. Once that's done, you provide information, relevant information to the government of Canada, for instance, your name, address.
Oh, I think our connection may be
Okay.
choking a bit.
So you provide information, and so once the account is opened and the information is provided, that is saved, and so it allows you to enter other information, information regarding when you want to come to Canada, the date of your entry, the time, the approximate time of your entry, as well as you have to indicate the port of entry. And all this, in the second phase of the app, you have to provide the information 72 hours before coming to Canada. So it is somewhat of a hassle, but at the same time, it's a requirement and we can't do otherwise. And it's not as difficult as most people think it might be. Look, if I can do it, I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people can do it. And we have members that have done it. They came last year, they're coming this year. And so it's not as if it's the end of the world. And if you do have problems, well, maybe consult someone that can help you, like a friend, a grandchild sometimes, because they're extremely good with computers and so on.
Yeah.
Lastly, I just wanted to mention that there's one more thing. If you intend on coming to our show, and I'd love to have you at our show, and you want to bring snowmobiles that are not registered, I highly recommend that you stop off at U.S. Customs before coming to Canada Customs and obtaining a form or a form certificate called a Certificate of Registration for Personal Effects Taken Abroad. It's form CBP 4457.
Oh, and we just lost Dan. Hopefully he'll come back and pick up right where he left off. Oh yeah, he's coming back. Let me bring him back to the stream.
I'm back, I think. Am I back or? Okay, I am back. So it is easy to fill out. And the advantage of having that form, it's like having a proof of ownership for your snowmobile or snowmobiles. So it's not a requirement when you come to Canada. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
good. It helps when you cross the Canadian border or customs because it facilitates things, but it's not a requirement. On the other hand, when you're coming back to the U.S., it's always good to have because the customs officer might say, well, where did you
Yeah, I think his signal is choking again.
so
Oh, here
they,
you go.
yeah, they might ask, where did you acquire this snowmobile? And if you don't have any proof of ownership, you might be in trouble because they might think that you're importing a sled that was purchased in Canada. So anyway, that's a thought. Now, I will be coming to the show finally. And so the emphasis, as I mentioned a while ago, the advantages or the high points of our show are the sleds, the race person, as well as the vendors. So I just want to say is that in terms of snowmobiles that were at our show previously, I just want to mention that we had the Boss Cat 2 in 2017. We had the Boss Cat 3 in 2018. We also had Bob Elsner's 1979 Arctic Cat 340 Snow Pro at our show. We had Yvon Duhamel's 1974 Snow Pro Blizzard, a Holy Grail machine, one of 6, but only one
Is
exists.
this it?
No, that's the profile. That is a 1972 prototype. No,
that's not it either. No.
That's Dwayne X, 1969 Double Eagle. Yvon Duhamel, I mean, there is one picture. It's white with brown and red graphics.
No, that's not it. No.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, the Blizzard, it says it right there. So, and then beside that sled was the 1976 TNT Snow Pro that was driven by Larry Ruglin. You have a Suzuki next to it, and then you have a Scorpion that was raced by Brad Ewing back in the day. So pretty amazing machines. And then next to that one, you have a Alouette Villain at 650, which is another rare machine. These machines are all brought by the Warnings, their cousins, both Keith and Brad. And aside from mentioned, last year, both Keith and Brad brought 4 twin tracks. They brought Gilles Villeneuve's 1981 Motoski twin track. They brought Jacques' 1981 Skidoo twin track. They brought no, not Jacques. Yeah, Jacques Villeneuve's 1984 40 Skidoo Snow Pro single track. That's the motorski that was driven by Gilles Villeneuve, and that's Jacques Villeneuve on the machine. Jacques was on our show last year. And next to it is the machine that was raced by Jacques in 1981. And then you have Brad Ewing's 1982-1983 twin track. You have the picture, Mike. You have Jacques Villeneuve and a few other people. No, that's the X4R that was at our show in 2019. That was brought by Paul Robinson. No. Those are other snowmobiles that were. That's the Ontario, the OSOR, the Ontario Oval Racing Group that brings sleds to our show. They'll be there again this year. And then we had Jacques Villeneuve's 1987 twin track, 1992 twin track that belonged to Gary Visser. And lastly,
oh, I think the signal is choking again. Let's give it a second and see if it comes back.
Brought in 2019 the 1972 X2R that was driven by Yvon Duhamel when he raced, or when he beat the speed record in Boonville, New York in 1972. The speed record was at it was an average record of 127.3 miles an hour. So all those snowmobiles came to our show, and this year both Keith and Brad are bringing the 1976 ski rolls, 440s, the snow pros that were raced respectively by Gilles and Jacques. Now, these are all original machines. They're not clones. They're not duplicates. They're original. So it's pretty amazing that these snowmobiles show up at our show. And aside from the snowmobiles that were brought by Bill Fullerton and by the Warnings, we have Jean-Pierre Cardinal, one of our club members, along with other members and buddies like Jim Duff, Robert Butt, Alain Binet, and his son Alex, Normand Drolet, Denis Poulain, and Steve Lucien, that bring an amazing collection of snow jets, thunder jets. They have with the Thunderjets and Snowjets, yeah, that's it. They have Yamahas, they have a few Mercs, and they have some Arctic Cats. That's the OSOR those are the OSOR snowmobiles.
Sure.
Then you have Pierre Pellerin. I don't know if you guys know Pierre, but he shows up at
Yeah, we've got a real tenuous signal here. Go ahead.
The history of snowmobiling. Did you get the last part? I'm not sure you did, or
No, the signal was choking.
Okay, so I mentioned that aside from our club members and others, you have Pierre Pellerin that is a regular at our show, and Pierre is a person that
Yeah, the signal keeps choking.
So Pierre is the person that came out with the 3 volumes of history of snowmobiling.
I've seen that, yes.
So besides, you have a picture of Pierre's snowmobiles. There's a small Fox track and a small, another smaller snowmobile. I think it's called the Skipper. Those are the Boa skis. Those are the Boa skis that are brought out by Marco Vachon and some people from Beauce, Quebec. So some really nice Boa skis.
Yeah, these images are real small that I'm clicking on, so I'm clicking on a lot of the wrong ones. So I apologize.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's cool.
What I may do is just click through the images if you want to talk up, make a comment on each of the images if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, go ahead and do so. So that's the profile. That was a prototype that came out in 1972. It has basically the same chassis and the same engine as the X2R that was raced or that established the world record in 1972 by Yvon Duhamel in Boonville, New York.
Yeah.
It belongs to Bill Fullerton. And Bill Fullerton, by the way, is also a regular at our show. I don't know if he's coming this year, but he's a regular at our show. Bill was one of Ski-Doo's former race directors, as well as a race director for the Can-Am motorcycles back in the day.
Yeah, nice.
Those are the OSOR race sleds. They do oval racing in Ontario.
They have a great Facebook group too, by the way.
Belongs to Jonathan Major, the Massey Ferguson. Yes, Massey Ferguson oval racer. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those snowmobiles belong to, I believe, John St. John from Ontario. Some very nice snowmobiles. There's one cross country. I believe it's a 1977 TNT cross country. I have one just like it.
Yeah. Nice. Little Skipper.
Yeah. That's the Pierre Pellerin's Fox Track in 1964, and I think it's a Skipper 1971. And right in back, you see Snowmobile History. That's Pierre. The 3 volumes. Yeah. And he, again, is a regular at our show. He was also the president of our snowmobile, Vintage Snowmobile Club in the province of Quebec up until last year.
Nice.
The Beauce skis, those I believe belong to Marco Vachon from the Beauce area in Quebec.
Gotcha.
That is one of Brad Euling's I think it's his 1979 Snow Pro Scorpion.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's Yvan Duhamel. Yvan Duhamel was there at our show in 2019 on the X2R that was completely restored by Bill Fullerton. An amazing restoration job. And unfortunately, Yvan Duhamel passed away last year, just before our show.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
Yeah.
I did hear about that, by the way.
And that's Dwayne X 1969 Double Eagle. It has on the hood 95.33 miles per hour, the speed record that was established in 1969 by Dwayne X.
Wow, very cool.
That's the X4R. Paul Robinson now is the owner of the X4R. It was Lucien Amoureus's snowmobile for many years. Lucien was also a former Ski-Doo racer from 1969 to 1973.
Yeah.
That is a pretty cool looking snowmobile. That is the Snow Condor. It's an Italian snowmobile with a gosh, I forget the name of it's a Guidetti engine. It's a 4-stroke, and so it's pretty unusual. And it's a person from around here, not too far from where I live, that brought that snowmobile. He restored it and brought it to our show last year.
Nice.
The Boa skis again.
Yeah.
It came to our show back in 2000. Industrial designer for Alouette back in the day from 1969 to 1975 when it folded. He designed every Alouette snowmobile with the exception of the Villain and Big Al. All the other snowmobiles were designed by Morley, including the Twin Track that was raced by Gilles in 1974 and all the 1973 and 74, 75 Snow Pros that were extremely, extremely successful and that were raced by Gilles and Jacques Villeneuve back in the day. Morley, unfortunately, passed away in March of this year, and he was a good friend, and he'll be missed.
Yeah, that's sad news. Well, cool.
So the second thing that I think is an advantage to our show is we have some pretty interesting race personalities, former racers, former directors, race directors that come to our show. I'll mention a few. Wayne Nicholson is a regular, and he's supposed to come back this year, or he told me he was coming this year. Mike Trapp. I got a call from Mike Trapp, and he was mentioning that he's coming out this year, and he wants to meet his old buddy, his mechanic, that
yeah, we're having a difficult time with the signal here tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're back. Sorry.
Okay. So anyway, he wants to come and see his old buddy, Réal Larochelle, who lives in Sherbrooke, Quebec. And Réal will most probably be coming out too. Ron Hall mentioned that he's coming. Jacques Villeneuve was there last year, and he was there at our show in 2018. It's a very good possibility that he shows up again this year. And then there's Gary Visser that I spoke to, and he said, Daniel, please harass me so I can make sure that I'm at your show. And then there's Jean-Paul Sanson, who will be a first-time guest. Jean-Paul Sanson was the person who developed and designed, who was part of the development and design of the 1969-1970 Double Eagles back in the day, and went on to work for Ski-Doo Bombardier, perfecting their engines with Rotax from Austria. So he'll be with us. He's 83 years old, and he's very lucid and in good shape. And I will also have Sylvain Laflamme as a guest. And what I do is from 11:30 to 11:30 a.m. to 12:30, I have a question period where I ask questions to the different race personalities. And towards the end, when I'm just about finished, I let those in the audience ask questions to our racers. So it's a pretty cool event. Thirdly, as I mentioned a while ago, we have vendors that have some pretty interesting and parts and good parts too, quality parts. I'll just give you an example. We have Alain Benoit from Valcourt, Quebec, where Ski-Doo is made, and Alain fabricates parts for B7s, B12s, R12s, R18s, and tin cabs from 1959 to 1961.
Wow.
He does all the he fabricates all those parts for those snowmobiles. And what's interesting is that he has the machine that was used in 1959 to 1961 by Ski-Doo Bombardier, the machine that makes the wooden skis for the tin cabs from those years. And I bought a pair off him made of ash. And Keith Warning from Wisconsin also bought 2 pairs. I hung them up in my cottage in the country. Nice. Then we have Dave Gosselin and Jacob Peltier that take 4 lots, and they have like amazing and very good quality parts. We have Guillaume Barbeau from GB Distribution that manages to fabricate or have fabricated parts for snowmobiles. And what's interesting is Guillaume is able to obtain original, brand new Tillotson carb kits for HR Tillotson carbs. He gets them from Tillotson that is now making them in Ireland. I believe Tillotson was bought out by an Irish company and they're fabricated in Ireland. So I just put a set on one of my TNT pre-airs, and they are absolutely awesome. Nice. There's a guy named, I don't remember his first name, but there's a guy named, his last name is Hirsch, and he's supposed to have some parts. Rael Sagan, one of our club members, is one of our vendors and comes up with all sorts of paraphernalia. So 3 good reasons to come to our show. Quality snowmobiles, our guests and our vendors, and also our Canadian dollar has been suffering for the last few decades, and your dollar is at 1.25 in comparison to ours. So I mean,
yeah, that's a very compelling case for that show, for sure.
So that's about it. I don't know if you have any questions or comments.
I don't. Did either Ray or Josh have any questions about it?
No, I'm pretty impressed, and it's great to hear, from somebody that has so much experience and everything that goes along with this sport. We only want to make ours better, and this gives me some ideas for the future. It's just great meeting people like Josh and Dan and you, Mike, that promote this sport. It's fantastic, and I see this thing just blowing up. It's new to this area as far as the rides and the shows. There's a few around, but I'm looking forward to see what happens around this area.
Yeah, for sure. And I do believe, at least from the shows I attend, I believe that the vintage snowmobiling is on a positive curve right now. I go to a lot of shows. They're always well attended, and there's new shows popping up, and even the new shows are well attended.
Yeah.
So that to me, at least the places I go, mostly northern Vermont and New Hampshire, that shows me that this vintage snowmobile hobby is very healthy, and I hope it's like that all across the U.S. and Canada. Do you guys have similar experiences in the shows you attend? Or?
Well, our show has grown every year. I mean, we're really happy. We can't ask for any better. And I think that vintage snowmobiles are still very much alive. And I realize that maybe at one point it might go down. But what I like is we have some good club members, young members, and you can tell that they are very enthused about the sport and riding vintage. So it's all good. It's all very good. And when you put on events, and we're not in competition with anyone. I mean, we try and encourage each other and help out each other. And if you have questions, I mean, just feel free to contact me. So it's all good.
Awesome.
Sure. And I think it was Josh earlier that was saying that there's a very tight knit community, the vintage snowmobile community, and I agree with that, and I find everyone to be very supportive and open to collaboration and everything. And
Yeah.
did you have anything to add to that, Josh, or anything you wanted to say? Or?
I mean, I'm young compared to I'm in my late 30s, but I've always been into snowmobiling my entire life, and it's grown dramatically in the last 5 to 8 years. And sleds that my father-in-law with his '74 Tiger, he bought new, and that's 48 years old, and that's kind of the heyday of the era. And it's you look at the people that come to it are, hey, I bought a sled like that brand new, and I'm starting to see the sleds that I rode in the mid '80s, or sleds that were in the mid '80s that were my first sleds. That's now the new modern vintage, if you will.
Sure.
So as years goes by, I'm becoming older in the group. But what's interesting is Boonville was the Adirondack Cup. They raced from the late '60s to the late '70s, and Herbie Yancey was the last Adirondack Cup winner before Boonville started having the race again. I believe he won it in '78 with the first mailbox cat, and the factories came and raced at Boonville. Polaris, Cat, everybody came to that, and they packed the stands at Boonville. There's pictures of them on the snowbank, on the roofs of houses, and it kind of went away, and now it's back. And Herbie Yancey, we're fortunate. He lives right down the road from here, and he's got a very, very nice to talk to, a very to share is something. And
Yeah, for sure. And he's a great guy. It's amazing that he's available to you like that, just a few miles down the road.
It's a fun sport. I say it is a competitive sport, but yet is But what's interesting is everyone rolls a list of people, or they'll start calling the individuals where, hey, I got the part for you. I got this hood, this cowl. And, those individuals that were 400 miles away, now they're together, and they're swapping parts, buying parts, and now they can make their builds complete, 3, 4, 5 months from that time period.
Nice.
So it's a nice tight knit group, and it's it's good, and it's nice to see the kids come to it. I mean, my oldest, he's into it. He helps me on the sleds, and he keeps asking, how much longer till the show, and we're going to a show next Saturday right in Rome. Jeff Maurer, he puts it on at the Rome Taberg Fire Department. Saturday, August 13th. That they have about 100 to 150 at that show, and that's.
I think I have a graphic for that.
Yeah, that's it, and that's a very good show, and the same people will come to the turn show, and but I'm hopeful. Again, we had 214 in the show. I really hope we break the 300 mark. That's a goal of mine, and I'd like to see that happen.
That would be amazing for sure.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go around again. We talked about each of us doing a short form version of our event, and then a long form, which we've just finished, and then doing the short form version again. And before we do that, I promised a good friend of mine, Jeff, that I'd promote his trailer. He's got a snowmobile trailer. I promised him that I would promote it on the podcast tonight. And I have to apologize. The images, I didn't have time to stretch them out to fill the screen. But he's got this trailer, and I'm going to give you the details on it here in just a moment. But let's take a quick look at it. And this trailer is in the Hanover, New Hampshire area, not far from Dartmouth Hitchcock Hospital. Now, here are the details about the trailer. It's a 17-foot V-nose. You can drive on and off. It's got a dual axle, new wheels, new tires, complete brake assembly with breakaway, roof vent and tongue jack. It's a 2-place trailer, but you can squeeze a third one in there with some creativity. It's in the Hanover, New Hampshire area. He's looking to get $7,500 for it. If you're curious about this, the number is on the screen. Just call Jeff. He's a good buddy of mine. Tell him that you saw it on the podcast. His number is 603-306-6631. So yeah, if you're curious about that trailer, please reach out to him at that number and be sure and tell him that you heard about it on the podcast. So yeah, let's go around the circle again. Ray, if you wanted to do a quick 60 to 120-second version of your event.
Thanks, Mike. And again, this is our first event, and I want to thank Josh and Dan for everything that they brought to this. It only helps us, but our show is going to be September 17th in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. We've got a bunch of different classes, not as many classes as they have, and maybe that's going to grow next year, I hope, once we learn a little bit more about this. Registration 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Ends at 2 p.m. with we're going to hand out trophies for the prizes. We're going to have the vendors there doing a swap. We're going to have food there also. The Pittsburgh Ridge Runners are going to be putting on a little cook shack, and so it's going to be a good time, I hope. Hopefully we see a bunch of people there from this area and from different states too, which we've gotten a pretty good response so far on Facebook. It looks like we're going to have a pretty good turnout, and hopefully this thing just keeps growing, because I think Josh is right. And Josh, you're at the age, man. You're the one that's going to keep this thing going. So keep it going, bud. Thank you.
For sure. Absolutely. And that's a good segue. If you wanted to do your 1 to 2 minute spiel on your shameless plug, I think I'll call it, for your event.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's I've always had an interest for it, and growing up here on Tug Hill, we get about 300. Used to get 300 inches a year. Last couple of years, we're around 200 inches. Talked a lot about the show. I'll talk a little bit about the club. Like I say, there's 220 clubs in New York State, and we're number 2 in the state for the 3rd year running. And it was formed here in Turn. It started with 90 members and went from the bottom and worked our way up through. But there's a total of 9 clubs in Lewis County. We all work together to groom that 504 miles. And Valley Snow Travelers, Southern Tug Hill, they do little events like this. I think you'll see snow sled shows at their facilities too in the upcoming years. And I'll throw a little tidbit out there. Our club, we groom pretty much from the middle of December to the end of March. And historically, on the average,
I think we're having trouble with the signal. I'm going to pop this graphic up until we get that resolved. Yeah, we're having some trouble with your signal, Josh. Oh, here we go. This might be improving. Yeah, I think we're having some trouble with Josh's signal. So I think what I'm going to do, with apologies to Josh, I think we're going to move on to Dan, give Dan a chance to go for 1 or 2 minutes about his event, and we'll pop the graphic on the screen here as he's doing that.
Well, thank you, Mike, once again. I'd like to just say that on our poster, it actually says that our show is from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, but we allow people to come on the Friday before. I mean, people arrive even at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We let them camp on site, so long as they don't make fires. And as you can see on our poster, the price of admission is $10, but for children, it's 12 and under. Admission is free. Now, there's no fee for the plaques that are given or awarded to the winners of the different categories. We have 11 categories in all, so there's no fee for that. And the vendors, for a lot 20 by 40, we charge only $20. So if anyone has any questions, my number is there, 514-914-8906. And you can send an email to our email address, or you can also send me an email. I can leave it with Mike, or I can give it to you right now. It's powerscortriver@gmail.com. So that's it, Mike. Thank you very much for everything.
Cool deal. Yeah, appreciate it so much. And I think we lost Josh. I know we're having a hard signal with him, having a hard time getting a good signal with Josh. I was hoping to circle back to him for some more comments. While we're waiting for that possibility, I just wanted to talk up these other 2 events that I'm mixed up with, talk them up real quick. we've got the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. They're having their next induction ceremony Saturday, September 10th at 1 p.m. Now, the ceremony itself starts at 1:30 p.m., but I encourage people to get there no later than 1 because you're bringing lawn chairs. You want to have some time to stake out a spot for your chairs, and you also want some time to go into the museum and mill around, take a look. There's over 100 sleds in there. That's going to take a little while. So you want to get there no later than 1 p.m. And this is, of course, is at Crane's Snowmobile Museum, 172 Main Street, Lancaster, New Hampshire. And then, of course, my friend Phil Bell, I was talking with him today. He's doing an event. I don't have a graphic for it. That is October the 2nd, Bethlehem, New Hampshire, right across from Beach Hill Automotive. If you're looking to Google the location, just Google Beach Hill Automotive in Bethlehem, New Hampshire. It's right across from the road there. October 2nd, which is a Sunday, it's a show and swap. There's going to be 10 different trophy categories, and it's from 10 to 2. And I'm glad we've got the signal back for Josh because, unfortunately, we were losing your signal earlier, so we had to cut away. But, Josh, we'll give you the last word in case you had anything final you wanted to say about your event. And we lost him. Oh, no. Okay, Murphy's Law never fails.
Can I just add something, Mike?
Of course, yes. I don't know if we're losing your signal. But
Mike, I'd like to just add one last thing.
Sure.
I would like to sincerely thank Tom Peters, who attended our show, I believe 2 or 3 times. And it was through Tom that I was able to contact you to promote our show. And again, I want to thank Tom very much. He's an inspiration and a great person. And I hope his back gets better because I know that he won't be able to attend our show this year because of his back. So,
yeah, for sure. And you're right. He's a mutual friend. He's a great guy. And it is disappointing to him that he's not able to attend all of these events that he'd like to with his health issues. And I think Josh is coming back on. Let's see if we can bring him back to the stream. Hey, Josh.
Hey, sorry about that. I could see you guys. I just couldn't hear. I didn't have any audio. But
no worries. Cool. We're going to give you the final word. If you want, I'll pop the graphic for your event if you want to do like a 1 to 2 minute plug on it.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick. Go ahead and bring that up.
Sure.
Again, September 3rd. My phone number is at the bottom, along with Ed Stabs. We're working together, and if you want to come in early on Friday, set up, park, stay overnight, just call my number, and I'll get you set up with power and whatnot, and we'll have. And if you do have sleds, you want to kind of get out early Friday to have so you're set up. I've been in correspondence with a local sheriff's department, so they'll be kind of passing through here and there, but lights will be on, and it's a good secure site. And there's lodging. I'll touch base on that. There's lodging at the towpath, which is right down the street, and lodging down at the Edge Hotel. They have about 110, 120 units.
Yeah.
Not too busy that time of year. So again, just look up the Edge Motel. Tracy and Mike down there, they're big supporters of our club, good personal friends, great people. They'll get you hooked up with a room, and great venue next door. Boondocks restaurant and bar, beautiful facility, and the Three Willows event center they just built on the backside of that. Their banquet hall can hold 400 to 500 people, and that's where we had the Blade reunion. Greg Martin, he was at the national show. He was a dealer for Blade out west, and he did it entirely on himself. We brought in Mouse Carpeck. He was one of the wrenches for Brad Hewlings. He was one of the designers. Kent Harley, he was the president there for Redline. They came out from the Midwest. Mr. Harley came from California, and it was a pleasure to ride with Mr. Carpeck last winter.
Yeah.
I mean, to have him as one of the head wrenches for Brad Hewlings there, it was nice to take him out on my backyard and take him around and show him the area, and nice to talk to a person like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully great weather, and hopefully a new one on this podcast. Hope to see you there. I'll be running around. You'll see me. So
Yes. Cool deal.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you also to the viewers watching this. We hope that you're close to at least one of these events and can take in the everything that these events have to offer. Most of them are here in the Northeast, either on the south side of the border or the northern side of the border. But hopefully there's something there that's close to you that you can take in. And of course, there's the induction ceremony for the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame, and then the one in Bethlehem, October 2nd, Sunday, October 2nd. It's a show and swap, 10 trophies from 10 to 2, and it's right across from Beach Hill Automotive. So if you're looking to GPS the location of the Bethlehem, New Hampshire event, just look on Google for Beach Hill Automotive, and it's right across the street. So that is it. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Thank you also to the viewers. And also, as always, we're going to give the last word to Amsoil. I'm just queuing up the video here. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for coming on. Looking forward to picking up the podcast again live in the fall. I'm sure you guys will be on every now and then. Anytime, and the three of you have anything in the way of vintage snowmobiles to promote, whether it's an event or new sleds or projects, finished restorations, anything like that, be in touch with me. I'd love to bring you on the podcast live once we're back in the live season from October through March.
Awesome, Mike. Thank you very much.
Again, thanks, Mike.
Well, my pleasure. And yeah, have a good evening, everyone. Last word, as always, goes to our friends at Amsoil.